Welcome to Make a Path Presents. I'm Ronnie Hayes, and today let's talk Doomsday Kingdom. Now, first off, please listen to the whole video because there's some important updates and announcements all throughout. Now, I wanted to make this video right after the release date announcement for the digital version of issue number 1, but the domain name transfer took way too long. It took a lot longer than I anticipated, literally right up until the night before the release, which kind of defeats the main purpose because the idea of the video was to launch the official website for Doomsday Kingdom, which is doomsdaykingdom.com. You can buy all your merch there. You can buy the digital copy, the physical copy when it becomes available. It also links out to the art store for the artist for Doomsday Kingdom. It links out to the Redbubble site where you can buy t-shirts for Doomsday Kingdom. It has the news and information, all the announcements, all the updates. It's a one-stop shop for everything. doomsdaykingdom.com. But because the domain name wasn't established and I couldn't put it live for the public to see, I didn't want people going to a site that was down. I just thought that would have made a horrible first impression. Now, because of this, I had to announce how to buy the digital copies way too close to when it released. I think it was only like 12 hours before it released. That is something I will never do when it comes to the physical copies at all, because with the physical copies, they're limited, so you want to give people a fair amount of time. For the digital, you don't run out of stock, so there's no worry of getting there late and then it being sold out. But I just want to say, I want everything to run smoothly, so everything from here on out is definitely a learning lesson. Now, before we take your questions and talk about the physical release, if anyone else is planning on buying the digital, you can still go to doomsdaykingdom.com, click either the shop tab or the comic tab. I believe both will eventually get you there. You could get the PDF file or the CBR. Now you're going to get an email after you purchase it with your download codes, and there's also a guide. This guide, I believe, comes in the email, and you can also find the guide in the news tab. Now, this guide looks complicated, but you don't have to know the whole thing. It just breaks down the different options based on your preferences. Are you on a desktop, laptop, mobile? Are you Android? Are you on an Apple? So don't let it intimidate you. I know the first time I saw it when the artist made it, I was like, oh boy, because I'm not big on digital either. I love holding it in my hands, but I understand the necessity, especially for indie comics, to create digital. It's absolutely necessary. We didn't want to come out and say, hey, we have this idea for a comic, please give us money, and wait a few months, maybe a year, and then we'll bring something out. We wanted to create it and then find ways for it to sustain itself as best it can. Hence the idea of digital. And then we moved to physical, and then we moved to variants, and then we moved to issue 2, and then we keep it alive. Hopefully, it keeps itself alive through the interest and through the support. So I hope people do understand the idea is to keep it self-sustainable. Now back to how to read the digital comics. What I used was the C display. It's capital CD, I-S-P-L-A-Y. Real simple. Once I put it on the computer, clicked on the CD display icon, and then I right-clicked, loaded the CBR file, and boom, 20 seconds later I was reading my comic on my desktop. If you guys have any problems whatsoever, I know for a handful of people, whatever happened in Squarespace through the automatic reply, it messed up their file. We were able to take care of them and send them a new file, something fresh for them to open. If you have any problems whatsoever, contact us at doomsdaykingdom@gmail.com. That's going to be our customer service email for right now until we get something official set up. Any problems whatsoever, doomsdaykingdom@gmail.com. We will definitely reply as soon as we can. I know there was one person who bought the wrong file. If you run into any issues whatsoever, hit us up, tell us a quick summary of what the problem is, and then leave your order number. And like I said, we will get back to you definitely with a solution. Now let's dive right into a lot of the popular questions left on the most recent Doomsday Kingdom videos. Hey Ronnie, how did we get a hold of a physical copy in the United Kingdom? Now here's the thing, when it comes to physical copies, we are going to do our best to send it out to every single person who buys the issue and pays for the shipping. If there's problems with some countries, fine, I admit it, there's problems with some countries. Some countries are really expensive compared to other countries. Some countries, it's just really problematic. But we are going to do everything in our power to get it to you. Next up, how do we pre-order physical? So I think the main idea we're working on right now is we're going to open the pre-orders on doomsdaykingdom.com, the official website, probably in a couple weeks. We're going to let the pre-orders sit a little bit, and then we're going to shut the pre-orders down, and then we're going to go ahead and fulfill the issues. We're not going to be able to leave the orders for the physical copies up at all times. We're going to have to do it in blocks, one pre-order at a time. As more support and more support comes our way, we'll be able to order these blocks and get them shipped out a little easier. And like I said, everything's a learning lesson, so we're also learning as we go along. So keep an eye out in a couple weeks. There's also a newsletter you can sign up for on DoomsdayKingdom.com that will shoot you an email the moment we make the announcement for physical copies. Next up, does this mean physical copies aren't far behind? Sign me up for all variants and signed copies. Like I said before, yes, physical copies for the pre-orders are just a couple weeks away. As far as the variants and the signed copies, we will have signed copies available with the pre-order, so you can pre-order a signed copy. The variants, however, are a little bit different. We're looking at a goal of doing the physical release next month, then the month after that doing the day and night variant set for the physical release. The month after that, we're hoping to get out issue 2, and so on and so on. That way we are getting out an issue every other month, every 2 months, depending on how quickly we can get everything shipped out, and obviously getting the comics made. We have very clear goals in mind, and it all depends on how issue 1 works out. But we both have a lot of heart and passion. Speaking for myself, this is a story I've been working towards telling since I was in junior high. We're talking over a decade I've been wanting to tell this story. There's nothing stopping me. Except for maybe the artist quitting. I don't think anybody wants stick figures, no matter how cool the story is. As well as doing the signed copies with the regular copies as far as taking the pre-orders, we are also looking into other things as well as bundles, getting a copy with a print. Maybe you want a copy of the comic with 2 different prints that you really like. So we're going to try to figure out some cool little bundle package and then have a couple little giveaways in there, like bookmarks as an example. Alright, next up, how much will it cost? Digital is $4 and physical is $4 plus the shipping and handling. Now when it comes to the signed copies and variants, we're still working on what we're going to charge there. And again, the idea is to use these bonuses and bundles to support issue 2 and bring that out. And at this time, there's just no way around selling the digital cheaper than the physical. I know that argument is bound to be made, but to be honest, there's some retailers that will not take the physical copy if you're selling the digital copy for cheaper. That's just something we heard. We got to look into it deeper. We did not want to rock that boat before we got started and do something stupid. So we're just hoping that people will look at the digital not as spending $4 on a single comic when maybe Marvel and DC or Image Comics is selling for $3. We're hoping people will look at that $4 as an investment to a brand new series that one day they can love and appreciate month to month. Next up, what is a digital release? Digital release is just reading the comic on your laptop, your computer. It's a digital version of the physical comic. So instead of holding it in your hands, you'll read it on your tablet, you'll read it on your laptop, your cell phone, your desktop, and that's pretty much it. Next up, how do I order / pre-order / obtain this? If you're talking about the physical, again, you're going to have to wait a couple weeks. If you're talking about the digital, you can go to DoomsdayKingdom.com right now and get your digital copy. Next up, how many pages will it be? There are 24 story pages. I think the average comic is about 22. I think that's the standard. So we got a little touch extra. And the extra bonus pages are from the writer's perspective, and we have a few other pages from the artist's perspective about bringing this story to life. Next up, any chance you can save signed copies or variants for us who want them? I won't be able to get a credit card, which conveniently I'm getting soon, but I really want a bundle pack. Now that's one big bonus to the pre-orders. It gives everyone a heads up on when it's going to be available to purchase. As far as holding stuff, if there's a handful of people, I think we might be able to swing that. But if there's like 50 or 100 people that are asking to hold stuff till after, I honestly will tell you right now, I do not know if we will be able to swing something like that. If it's for just the signed copies, I think we can make that work, because we're going to do everything in our power to get a little bit extra as far as the physical copies, so that way the people who come later, maybe they hear about it after the pre-orders close, we will be able to at least fulfill some of those orders by having extras. So if maybe you wanted it and the pre-orders are closed and we have some, extras laying around, we will be able to fulfill some of the orders that members of the Matt family wanted. Alright guys, the rest of the questions are about the comic story, and these are the only other questions on here. One person asked if the comic will start before the outbreak or after, and it's going to be both. It's going to start after the outbreak, but we will see before the outbreak. Next up, is it going to be all fresh and new because you are mocking Fear the Walking Dead and saying it's boring for doing things that have been done before? Will you be doing all fresh and new? No, straight up no. No one is. A lot of stuff has been out there and it's been told before. Zombies bite. Yes, I will have stuff that will be similar to other zombie stuff. These zombies, look like zombies. They bite. But I will also have stuff that is absolutely refreshing and new. One thing that I want to do that I wish Fear the Walking Dead did was look at the story and say, okay, if it's been done before on that show, don't do it again. And that's definitely something that I've looked at. Will there be similarities? Will there be things like running into a bad guy? Most likely. Because no matter what happens, eventually you're going to run into a bad guy. I could tell you it's going to be very different. The world of Doomsday Kingdom is going to be very, very extremely different. So this will allow us the opportunity to have new and fresh stories compared, if you are comparing it, to The Walking Dead. Because that world is done. The world is dead. And there's these little communities of survivors. This world did not fall like that. This world is different. Hence, we can tell different stories. I don't really want to go into much more because I will be diving into some spoilers. I did talk a lot in previous videos about Doomsday Kingdom, so if you want to know more, definitely check out those videos. But that's pretty much it. If you guys have any other questions, leave them down in the comment box. I will pull those questions, and if we don't do a follow-up video, keep an eye out on Doomsday Kingdom. I will definitely do a follow-up post. We have some other posts coming in the news and events tab at doomsdaykingdom.com. Remember, any problems at all, doomsdaykingdom@gmail.com, and we'll take care of you as soon as we can. Alright, massive thank you to everyone who's been supporting. I think for the digital, we definitely passed 100 orders. I gotta check. I've been so busy I haven't even had time to check, but I'm almost positive I've seen roughly about 100 orders come in. Definitely a massive thank you to everyone supporting. We have an honest shot out of creating a new series right now. We could be at the beginning of creating a new franchise right now. I'm not saying this is going to be Star Wars big. I'm just saying we might have a shot at keeping something for us, for zombie fans, that is a little bit different. A little bit the same too, because it's zombies. We need it to be. But this might be the start of a really awesome independent franchise for us, fans of the zombie genre, creating content for fans of the zombie genre. I love it. Thank you guys, and good night. Goodbye. Whatever. Good morning.
Good night.
I don't know. Whenever you watch this.